But I actually think pursuing high-value men is overrated. People, of course, have different definitions of high-value man, but the most prevalent definition I see online is a guy just being an above-average earner with a high status.
I just want this kind of guy, so I need him to be 6 feet and he needs his 6 figures and he needs to have whatever that is. It's like, no, like if you really believe what the Bible is saying, then you would understand that money does not trump character. Money does not trump quality of person. That's not what the Bible says. And a lot of us are justifying our list with the Bible, and we're taking things out of place, which has happened all throughout history in a lot of different ways that are despicable. And I'm not going to get into that today, but you're using the Bible out of context. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Samantha Lee, and I'm here to watch a video with you guys. This video is called Why High-Value Men Are Overrated. And it also says, I married average, which I thought was incredibly interesting. Before I do, I want to ask you guys to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Y'all, I'm posting content almost daily, only taking off on Sundays. And I'm now going live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. You hit that notification bell, you will be the first to know when I go live. If I do it randomly, sporadically, whatever that is, just hit the notification bell, y'all. It's worth it, okay? Let's get into it, family. I married average. That's the name of this video. So I'm gonna put it, you'll see.
In the femininity space online, the buzzwords high-value man and high-value woman are tossed around a lot. We tend to value what men find attractive because we know that we need to embody at least some of those things in order to attract an attractive quality man and maintain a healthy marriage. I receive tons of comments from women who say that we shouldn't care about what men find attractive, and they'll literally say, and I quote, "You're focusing on all this femininity stuff, but your husband will still cheat on you, and I bet I could get him to cheat on you." Firstly, I always think project much, and then I think, okay, well, come back to me in 30 years and tell me how that worked out for you, and then I promptly delete the comment. So I completely understand why this community emphasizes being of high value, but I actually think pursuing high value men is overrated. People, of course, have different definitions of high value man, but the most prevalent definition I see online is a guy just being an above average earner with a high status. That's essentially how Kevin Samuels, may God have mercy on his soul, and the Red Pill Manosphere Collective talk about high-value men. In fact, Kevin Samuels had 6 specific factors that he used to qualify a man as high value. If you're a high-value man, then you, according to him, have to 1, make at least $120,000 a year, 2, for at least the past 3 to 5 years, 3, have group acceptance from other high-value men. 4, network with other high-value men. 5, have the reputation as a high-value man, meaning having your income and public image linked. And 6, have utility, meaning that you're useful to others. Being a high-value man in this vein has very little to do with character. If a man makes a lot of money, what that essentially signals is, unless he's an
Okay, so here's the thing. I understand we do value men being of high value today. And that's not to say that that isn't a feat, that isn't something to be commendable. It takes a lot. There's a small percentage of people that actually meet that criterion. But I think that the biggest thing that I've had with this criteria, not to say that it's incorrect, but it's incomplete, okay? Yes, high value means that you can get a lot of women, access to a lot of women. If we stop there, that's cool. Then that's what they get. They get a lot of women, things like that. But do they keep relationships? Do they maintain families? I've seen videos of billionaires that have issues because of the simple fact that they've lost their families due to how hard they've been working, or they weren't able to foster healthy relationships with their children. Like, there's other factors that we do not take into account. And the biggest issue is that character qualities do not come into play at all. Like, on that list, we're not talking about a man of integrity. We're not talking about a man that's faithful. We're not talking about a man that's loyal. We're not talking about a man of God. We're not talking about any of these things. We're just talking about purely, do you make a lot of money? Do people see you as making a lot of money? Do you interact with people that make a lot of money? That's basically it. Do you make a lot of money, and are you useful to society? And do people see you as being that? And I feel like when we do that, we take away from men that have good quality. So all women want this guy because we're competitive by nature, if we just being real, right? That's what women do. We compete. We can say we don't, oh, I don't want to compete. No, you do. Okay. And then you have this situation where you're competing for this guy and you want the highest quality guy to choose you. Hypergamy. Come on. Okay. And then you find the guy and you find that, okay, now we're dealing with each other. Maybe we're in a relationship with each other, but then you find that there may be some things that he doesn't have or you weren't vetting out. And that's an issue. Because even though this person has a lot of money, maybe, or a lot of access to money, or whatever you think that may be, this person may not treat you right. This person may not be respectful. This person may not treat other people well. You know, they may not have healthy relationships or know how to have healthy relationships. And these are important factors that we don't take in. We only value money. And that's part of the issue. That's part of the problem. We've put a price on certain things, on our soul. If we want to get deeper, but that's not the most important thing. So let's get back into the video, y'all. Let me stop. Let me get back into the video.
Valuable traits. I am not here at all to say that you should want a man who's incompetent, undisciplined, and lazy and makes no money at all. What I am saying is that if you are an average young woman in your 20s or 30s and are looking for men in the same age group, there is an infinitesimally small chance that you're going to find a man in your age group who makes six figures, let alone a wholesome man who wants to be monogamous who makes six figures. The average 25-year-old man in the US at least makes $40,000 a year. The average 35-year-old makes $60,000 a year, and this is probably before taxes. Only about 10% of men in the US at least make six figures. 10%. And you better believe that most of those men are not that young. It takes time to get that kind of income. They're probably at least 45 years old, if not in their 50s. And unless you want to have a pretty large age gap marriage, I'm talking 10 to 20 years, which most people don't want because they want to experience all the different seasons of life together, then you should probably consider more regular so-called average men. I see a
problem that I have with this is that, okay, she's talking about age gap, but she looks young. So, okay. I don't think age gaps, depending on how large, I don't think that that's as big of a deal to me. That's just me. Okay. You know, it's just me. I don't mind an older man. Okay. That's not a huge deal. I think for my perspective in the issue with that is that, to her point, it is a smaller percentage of men. And if we're all vying for the same kind of man or the same type of earning man, then there's going to be men that do not have somebody or do not have women that are coming after them. And then you also have women that aren't going to find certain men, right? So there's a group of people, men and women, that are not finding partnerships because one group, which we're not going to get into men today, we're only talking about women. Women are not being realistic. We don't want average men anymore. We don't want the average earner. We don't want those kind of things. And I'm not saying not to reach for the stars bullseye. I get that. But there's other aspects that men bring. There's other value that men bring that is not just financial. And I'm tired of this rhetoric of like, oh, you got to have a billionaire in order for you to be happy. It's like, no. A lot of times the women in those relationships may not be happy. They live well. They're miserable in beautiful places. Okay. But then there's men that I've seen that are, quote unquote average earners, but they're committed to their families. They'll be more likely to make sacrifices and consider your feelings in the process of the things that they're doing. I mean, we cannot just completely throw away or neglect a population of men that will love you, do right by you, respect you, make sacrifices. Y'all can build something together. We can't neglect that. And that's my bigger issue with the rhetoric, not so much age difference, but we'll continue with this. Let's go.
A lot of women online pining after the top, not even 10% of male earners, but the top 5%. Men who make at least $200,000 a year. Women who think that being with a regular dude is settling and complacent. I am not saying that money is an awful thing. I'm not saying every high-earning man is unwholesome. However, if money is the main focus or the highest goal, then it becomes disordered.
She preaching right there. If money becomes the highest goal, then it becomes disordered. Y'all, that's a Bible verse. We done talked about that. What if you gain the whole world and lose your soul? It becomes disordered. when we like, oh, forsake all else, all that matters is money. And even with men that are high value, listen, when she's talking about, okay, women now talking about 200,000. I saw a video where a woman was talking about she need at least $1 million. I'm like, or 500,000, $1 million. I'm saying to myself, these men have women lined up. It's going to be much harder for this type of guy to say, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to stop seeing all the women that I have access to and just focus so, especially in today's society when men are more hesitant to get married than ever, understandably so. But again, I think that if we're waiting on this unicorn of a man to show up, it's prioritizing financial means over the quality of a person. And if we're using Bible, if we're using Ruth and Boaz, if we're using all these different, euphemisms that we find all throughout, we are not living our raps. Okay, we're not. We're saying, oh, I want the Bible says I just want this kind of guy, so I need him to be 6 feet and he needs his 6 figures and he needs to have whatever that is. It's like, no, like if you really believe what the Bible is saying, then you would understand that money does not trump character. Money does not trump quality of person. That's not what the Bible says. And a lot of us are justifying our list with the Bible, and we're taking things out of place, which has happened all throughout history in a lot of different ways that are despicable. And I'm not going to get into that today, but you're using the Bible out of context. Finding a man that has character, that has value, that is going to be a good father, a good husband, that may hold the same core values that you do. Those things are super important. And a lot of us are getting lost in just, oh, he got money, so forget everything else that I want from a relationship and a partner. He got money. Y'all, that don't matter. Okay, you could have all the money in the world. I would rather have somebody that I share certain values that really is willing to sacrifice the way that I'm willing to sacrifice, that is just as invested as I am, and doesn't feel like, oh, because I got money, I don't have to give. I don't have to sacrifice. I don't have to do the things that you want me to do. I'm going to do what I want to do because I've made money and this is what I've done. And you can kick rocks and I'll just replace you with the next one. I don't want that. I want a man that sees the value in me and we can build something together. So anyway, let's get back into the video.
Married, start a family while you're still young, and you want a man who's also young, then you should not base your standards off of what the red pill manosphere collective call high value. There is no mention of character, no mention of piety. And if you do not take those things into consideration, then there will definitely be pitfalls. Firstly, when you're with this kind of powerful man, there's a higher risk that he's going to be unfaithful, as he may have a bigger ego, and there's no shortage of beautiful women who actively want to be with him for the same reasons. And when a worldly man has beautiful women throwing themselves at him, being faithful to one woman is more difficult and less enticing. I'm not saying
Here's the thing. She's being very politically correct here. She's breaking this down in a way that is like undeniable. Yes, absolutely. If a man got a lot of women, he got a lot of options. Why would he deal with you? Why would he have to say to you, you know what? I'm going to make sacrifices. I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. He would have to really be at a place in his life where he's like, you know what? I'm done with all these other things. I know that they're empty. I would rather just focus and invest in one person. But if we're talking about top earners that have access to a lot of different women, and there's women that are willing to share it, amen. Like, listen, I'll be the main. You can have all these sides. It's cool. Just don't bring nothing home. We good. Just do you. You have a lot of women that are okay with that. So why it would have to be somebody that has that same idea for their life as far as wanting a family and wanting to share the life with one person and see that as a meaningful, well-lived life. Okay. And that's even harder to find, because if you're talking about men that make a certain amount, and then you're talking about certain men that make a certain amount that have those same core values, that's even smaller. So she breaking this down. Go ahead, girl. Do your thing.
These beautiful women are causing men to sin. When you sin, it is entirely your fault. But there are more temptations surrounding high-value men, which is why men in the manosphere and red pill collective weirdly try to reason that it's not unethical for a high-value man to cheat or to have a high body count. I'm not saying most high-value men cheat, but there is a higher proportion of them cheating. So even if you do want to attract this kind of man, there is competition. And even if you do settle down with this type of man, you very well may not experience as much peace in the marriage because you are keenly aware of the fact that he has many options who are more or less throwing themselves at him. And that kind of thing would bother even the most secure of women.
I mean, here's the thing. She's right. Okay. When you are with somebody that has a lot of options or women throwing themselves at them, is that the easiest type of relationship to be in? No. But at the end of the day, I think that the bigger issue is not so much of what women will do with that man. It's more or less this. I look at more of the sacrifices that they're willing or not willing to make. Women throwing themselves. I want a man that's desired. I want a man that's desirable. I want a man that there's some competition in the boat. I like that. You know what I'm saying? I know that kind of man is probably just making decisions, well-informed decision on me, so I'm not against that aspect of it. That's not my biggest issue with it. Do I feel like it's a harder situation for that type of guy to be faithful or to be a good partner in a marriage? Absolutely. I think it's very, very challenging because they are faced with temptation and they have to make decisions. And sometimes they may not make decision for the family or for their lineage or for their marriage, whatever that may be. I think I understand where she's coming from. And listen, that ain't my biggest issue with this. This is ain't. Right? I like competition. Women like competition. Most women want a man that is desired and desirable. So they're not just going to choose a guy that doesn't have any other options, which is why I encourage men, have your roster. Not have your roster in that way. You know what I mean, guys? Some men like cash out the chips in the casino way too soon. Okay, you want a woman that that you're vetting out and shares certain values and is also bringing certain things to the table that you find as a priority, not just, oh, she's beautiful and I'm just going to give her everything because she's beautiful. No, she's got to have more than that. But again, I don't think there's anything wrong with a little competition. That may just be me, but I do want a man that's desirable. I think I'm speaking for a lot of women. Listen, you can hit me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think women like competition. Let's continue this.
So, does this type of man give you a lavish lifestyle, status, convenience, financial security, and relief? In spades. But what about lasting intimacy, peace, or a tight-knit family?
Hello.
And hey, I get it. We are women. We value a man who can provide for us with resources because we're the ones who get pregnant and give birth, and therefore we want a man who can provide for us so that when we get pregnant, we can focus on being pregnant and being present mothers. But the transient thrill of being with someone of high value and the exclusive material benefits that they can offer you very well may narrow the scope of your vision. This intense attraction ultimately comes from our fallen desire to seek security in the world and not from God. Money is ultimately just a tool to exchange value, a means by which we achieve our goals. And if money is our highest goal in itself, then our life becomes shallow and we forget its meaning. You also may not have as intimate of a marriage with a very high value man. These kinds of men are extremely ambitious and busy. They're total hustlers. I'm not only talking about celebrities, even doctors, lawyers, and lucrative business owners work around the clock. They are constantly busy and they enjoy being busy. How often are they going to slow down to be present with you and your family?
I think she breaks down a whole point right here and she kind of doesn't even realize it. And I think that that's the point that I want to be here with you guys with, is that when we start to find security in financial things and solely financial things, we lose sight of what actually does matter. And I'm not saying that a man who has accomplished a lot and things like that, that's an attractive quality for sure. Hardworking, definitely is doing everything he can to provide the best life for himself and his family. That there's nothing wrong with that. That's commendable. What I have an issue and take issue with is in this world today, that we overlook men that are, they're not making what 1% of men are making or 5% of men are making. We overlook those men and basically keep our eyes on certain types of men without even understanding their character or whether their values or core values align with yours. You just see their status or see what they're making, say, oh, forget everything else. I'm just going to focus on that. And I'm here to tell you that's empty. There's a lot of men out here that will bring so much value to a woman, into a relationship, into a marriage. And yes, they may not be making $1 million, but the character of that man, the integrity of that man is priceless. And so y'all, that is today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this brought some enlightenment to y'all. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, click the link in the description in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys in my next video. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Let's not just be every once in a while. Let's become family, okay? Friends that are family, okay? Join my family today.